Thank you so much for buying a Bungeebox and Drawerbox combo. Today I'm going to show you how to put these guys in your van, and let's get into it. So first thing first, the bungee cords in the front. So I'm going to show you how to string those up. You can pop the latch here, get rid of the lid. And so the bungee kit will come with, of course, your bungee. You'll have two sections of these. You have one in the front, one on the side. You can see we already have that one laced up. But basically, you're gonna have the cord end, that just keeps it nice looking, and then the cord lock on the very end. So once you have that together, you can start from the back side here, go in through the last hole, and string this up. So you can go in through the front, and then back out. And you can kind of keep tension on this as you go. It'll kind of hold itself. And all the way through. And now you can kind of grab that side, grab your last cord end, and put it over. These can be a little tricky to get on sometimes if you got too much rope in there, but just like that, snap it on, and then kind of let it go in the back. And now on this side where that cord lock is, you can just pull it tighter if you want these guys tighter or looser. So that's how to put your bungees on. Next, we're gonna ship these to you. They're gonna have a bunch of bolts on both of the insides here. So we wanna combine these two units. So in order to do that, we need to take out all these bolts. The best way to access it is to take the drawer out of this side. So just like any standard drawer, you have a lever, one that goes up and one that you push down at the same time. Kind of give it a little tug and the whole box will come off. Now you're gonna need an 11 mil and 5/32 or a 4 mil Allen, and we'll just buzz off all these bolts, and then I'll show you how to connect them together. Now that we got all the bolts off, we can mate these guys up just like that. Remember, the Drawerbox always goes in the front, towards the front of the van, and the Bungeebox in the back. It'll have this 45-degree angle, so really easy to tell. And now we're gonna take our bolts and put them back through all those holes. We're gonna go bolt through Drawerbox into the Bungeebox. So it's just a matter of getting these guys all lined up. Might be a little hard to see, but I like to get them started and by hand. So now that we got those guys all hand tight, the only real thing I look for here is that these two metal edges in the front right here are nice and flush. So that's why we kind of leave them a little loose, is that we can get that real nice and perfect. So let me tighten all these guys up. Gotta go the right way. Now that we got the two halves bolted together, just wanted to mention these three holes right here, these are for a lagoon table mount, just the skinny mount. So if you got one of those from us, you can just bolt that up here, real nice and easy. Now that we're ready to put this thing in the van, leave the drawer out and the tops off. This will make it a lot lighter to lift, or get a buddy to help you lift it in. We're gonna need a 14 mil box wrench, and you'll see once we get in the van, but that gets to the stud that's kind of under this slide. You might have a few leftover bolts from when we had these things bolted together when we shipped it to you. So don't be alarmed, don't freak out. There might be a couple extra bolts. You're also gonna want these two round washers. These guys are gonna go over the studs when we put them in the van. So let's get this guy in the van. Preparing for the gear wall, these are the factory rings. They're kind of like L-track pucks. So you're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these guys that we gotta take off. Starting at the top, they have this like plastic over top. or rubber, I guess it is, and you can kind of just wiggle that out over the top. So that guy just simply pops off. We won't be reusing those. So you can set that aside. And now they're getting into the actual ring part. So the hard part about this is you can't get your fingers down in there to actually pull it out. And let me show you an up close of how these actually work. This is what the factory D-ring or O-ring, whatever you want to call it, looks like. And how this works, it has a spring right here. You put your 2 fingers on the outside and you put your thumb on the back side, and you can see when you compress it, it comes out. So basically, we're not able to do this with our fingers right here because of this round hole. There's no way you can get in there to kind of do that action. So in order to do that, the best technique I found, you take 2 flat blade screwdrivers and you can come in here and wedgie both sides up, and the goal is to turn it sideways. So this one wasn't too hard, so now that's sideways, we'll be able to move it. The next thing we really want to pay attention to is there's screws that hold the actual puck in. Some of those screws are sideways and some of them are flat. So on this particular one, it looks like we're going to be able to go to the right to get this out. So it's not pretty, but you kind of just can wedgie it out if it'll work, and boom, we got it out. So if we get in close here, you can see that this screw head is actually sticking up, so we couldn't go that way, and this one is much flatter, so we were able to move it out to the right. Now that we got our O-rings out, we're going to be replacing them with the studs. So in your kit, if you got a gear wall and a water box, you're going to have 3 of these for this side, for the passenger side, and then you'll have 2 if you got the seats over here, the Drawerbox and the Bungeebox. So these guys, kind of the same way that we got the O-ring out, you're going to want to go in the side where the screw's not sticking up near as much, and then you're going to push it into the center, and that's pretty much it. Once we tighten them down, that will force it up and these guys won't go anywhere. If you do have a screw that's a little tilted or kind of not in there in a nice position, you can actually take your drill and back it out, then slide the stud in, then put the screw back in. So that's a little hack too. All right, now that we got the unit in here, we're just gonna lift it up and put it over top of the studs. So this can be a little finicky. Watch your back. But just lift it right over and boom. Now you can just push the whole unit back against the little ledge of the plastic and then just kind of slide it as forward as you can. We'll grab our round washers and our nuts and just put those on. Bend those down by hand. Do the same thing over here. I always like to thread everything down by hand first before coming in and getting crazy with the ratchet. So these guys are 14 mil. Just come in here and give it the beans. You want that guy nice and tight. And this one's a little bit more of a pain just because it's underneath this slide. All right, and now you can give it a yank and you can see these things aren't going anywhere. So let's get the drawer back in. We can put the lids on and get the cushions in here, and that's a wrap. We can pull out the slides a little bit here. And it's a little tricky, but you're just gonna get it lined back up, both sides. Get that started. You'll hear the click. Push it all the way in, and there you go. Look at that soft close, beautiful. Lock it down with the latch, and we'll do the lids next. All right, so the tops here, they have this little bracket in the back, and there's little rubber bumpers on here, and you can see there's an angle on there. So basically all this is doing, it's going back in here and catching this lip, and then the lock is catching this lip right here. So when you set these guys in here, you don't have to be super precise, but just put the back in first, kind of give it a little push back, and it'll just naturally kind of fall into place. Lock it down, and you can see they don't really go anywhere. Let's add the cushions next. On the tops of our wood here, we have our latches. So these guys are lockable. They'll come with a set of keys. You can put them in, and once you lock it, turn it, she's locked. So you can put your valuables in there. So that's nice and easy. And then on the back side, if we get in close here, there's actually a lock nut here, and this adjusts. So when you're putting it onto the actual cabinet, you want this guy to be contacting the metal when it's in its closed position. Once you have that just right, you spin this lock nut down and then grab a wrench, and you can just tighten it up. Then that thing won't back out or vibrate out as you go down the road. So let me show you, if you got our premium cushion option, how to put that on. So you take your cushion, this is the top side with the little tag, and you'll have these two little tabs on the bottom. Then we just simply take our wood and put it on top. And you'll have two Velcro strips, the scratchy side and the soft side. So the scratchy side you're gonna want down, and I'll kind of just move this here for you. So you'll go in through the loop and just kind of feed half of it through. Take your wood and feed it up through that slot, get it lined up, and then just simply put it over on itself. Then we can do the same thing on this side. Scratchy side down, put it through, and then up through the hole. Kind of get it squared up wherever you'd want it here, and boom, stick it to itself. So that's it. Now the cushion's attached on here, but the cool part is you can still lift it up to get to the lock. All right, so that's how to put together the Bungeebox and the Drawerbox. If you have any questions, like always, feel free to reach out to our team, give us a call or shoot us an email. Thanks so much for watching this one. See ya.